Good evening
Good evening.
and pranam Kumarda.
Good.
Many thanks for joining today, and especially when I'm interviewing a musician like yourself. I don't think I need any introduction, because if I start talking about you, that needs more than a night or more than an evening, more than a day. The contributions you have made, not just only in Indian classical music, but also the world music as a whole, is just undefinable, especially in my language.
Thank you.
So many thanks. And also, one of your extraordinary side is you are perhaps one of those foremost tabla players or musicians in India who are still inclined to the traditional side of Indian classical music, talks in favor of sustaining the traditional side of the Indian classical music. And also you shaped, and in some extent you pioneered in many ways to develop tabla as a solo instrument. So the experiments you did, even inclining to the traditional side of the Indian music, you still accompanied so many maestros of Indian classical music of 20th centuries. And then again, you were trying to develop tabla as a solo instrument. And also I can remember you performed with many maestros that include Ravi Shankarji. I'm not mentioning even Ravi Shankarji's name, which is Yahud Manuhin. And that is something that we talked last time over the phone. And then let us perhaps start with your memory about Yahud Manuhin, because I'm the firm admirer of Yahud Manuhin. I met him in Royal Albert Hall before he died, the last performance he did in Royal Albert Hall. So if you kindly talk a bit on Yahud Manuhin, your memory on Yahud Manuhin, and then I would like to have your input on your spiritual side, because you are a spiritual man as well. So let us start with your input on Yahud Manuhin.
Well, when I met him in London, of course. And, there is a Udemy Foundation and Academy in Belgium. In Brussels, right?
Yeah.
And actually, I was there with Pandit Ravi Shankarji, with him, to play and to inaugurate the academy. That day we were there. So there I met him, and then so on, So the thing is that whenever I met him, I really felt like meeting to a god, something like that. Because he was so pure, he was so cool, so pure, and a very divine sort of feelings in his face, in his talk, in his voice, sound of voice, and everything, is a very divine sort of feelings you can get, So, and once I remember that such a great musician, there's no word actually no proper word to explain how big musicians and human being he was. We were having coffee in a restaurant.
Wow.
In a hotel we were living. He came to meet Panditji, and to talk. And so I was actually at the lobby. I was going somewhere, to buy something. I suddenly saw him coming out from a car, and then I, of course, so he said that please sit with me. I would like to have a cup of coffee with you. I said, okay, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. So he
Wow.
had a talk with Panditji by phone from lobby to the room. And so Panditji was getting ready. And that time we were talking. And I was amazed to see that he really always admired Ravi Shankar ji as his guru.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. And he was talking so beautifully about him. And he was admiring and always telling me that, after I met Ravi, my life is changed.
Yeah.
My
That's
life
what he
is
mentioned.
changed.
That's what he
Yeah.
mentioned in his autobiography as well. After
Yeah.
meeting Ravi Shankar
Yeah.
ji, that's what he mentioned.
So this was something, a person like him, such a big um, sort of icon, he is so sort of, sober and so uh, down to earth, that he admired Ravi Shankar ji as his guru, and just like we did, he he feels like me and he is Guru Bhai, something like that. It
Wow.
was it was something like that. So this is one of the things. Then the second thing is, then I went to London in to play in Darbar, and Sandeep, they had arranged a workshop in Udimenu Institute or Research Center, something like that,
Yeah.
somewhere near London.
London. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Beautiful place
Exactly.
he has really made. So all his land, all his earning of whole life, music, philosophy, uh, violin, instrument, and everything he has given to the government to maintain out of any interest,
Exactly.
just given that the next generation and generation after generation
Gets
can
better.
be very, very helpful for the music if they want to study. So a person earning of his whole life, everything put into a project where for the next generation, this is a great, great sort of thing, It's a great sort of thing. So this was the second time I was there for 3, 4 days, and it was lovely staying because every corner of that place and the hall, I played a concert there in the hall. Every corner of that place is so full of devotion, full of love, and full of music, which is fantastic.
Exactly. So that is so you met actually second time spiritually, because we say
Yeah.
wherever you went, he
Mm,
was there. His spirit was there, and
mm,
quite fortunately, Kumar, the organization that I direct, Show the Society of Poetry and Music, in next year we are in conversation to do something there as well, because I'm a great fan of Yahud Manu Hindi, and
mm,
this is something nice to know that he counted himself one of the finest musicians of 20th century. He
yeah.
counted himself as the disciple of Ravi Shankarji and
Mm.
yourself as a Guru Bhai. How beautiful is this? How,
Beautiful.
yeah. So is yourself, Kumarda. You uh, hit the top height of fame, especially in relation to Indian classical music and in relation to Indian classical tabla. You are also an ultimate one. the experiments you did, the spectrum of art activities you did. You became, and like Yahud Manuhinji, you are also so down to earth, Kumar. I mean, perhaps great
Look,
musicians are like this.
thank you very much. But the things is, our lifestyle and our grown up with Guru and with my parents is totally different than today, because we were maintained very disciplined way of living life, you know. The second thing is that we never knew what is fame, what is money, what is the effect if somebody is very famous, what would be the effect?
Wow.
We didn't know. I started my tabla because I loved it and I wanted to play and I desperately wanted to just play music and tabla. I was so mad because that age I had no idea that what is fame, what is name, what is what. I mean, this is, I never knew it. So because of that, because of only love and devotion, I started my music and I'm still today, I'm into that.
How?
Because now I know that the joy you get when you play your music, which is unbelievable, that cannot be compared with any other things in the world. It doesn't matter. I'm sure there are musicians who those are economically very successful. They have a lot of money. They are very famous. Everything they have. But just ask them, if they can't produce their music, whatever they do, singer, player, whatever, are they happy? They are not. They are still working on it, that how beautifully I can sing, how beautifully I can, more beautifully I can play. How, you know,
Exactly.
musicians never, or artists, not only musicians, artists are never satisfied.
True. Two things, Kumar. That is, I was watching some of your videos in YouTube, and then I saw many things in YouTube about you and many of your performances that distinguishes yourself from other musicians. But one thing that captivates me, your spiritual side, like you mentioned. So let us explore a bit more on this, and then I would like to cover. I found very few things about your dad and mom, because obviously they were he such a great musicians as well. They perhaps shaped your ideas, the things that you are talking now, perhaps that developed, like you mentioned, in your childhood, and that's why you are into seeking happiness instead of artistry. So that is something that I perhaps would like to ask you. You are one of those fortunate musicians as well, in terms of working with so many other music. And one musician I'm also a big fan of, which is Professor Semurian, a Persian musician, tambour player. I saw some of his stuff. Yeah. Would you be able to that shows that you have a journey in Sufi music as well, because he's kind of a Persian Sufi musician. Could you tell us a bit more your journey and exploring other music as well. And then I'll come back to you in relation to how you seek happiness in music. Kumar, can you hear me? Hello?
There's some disturbance is going on.
Can you hear me now?
Anything.
Oh, can you? Oh, I can hear you now. Yes. Yeah. Has that been settled? Yeah, please talk. Commander, please talk.
না আমি আসলে কিছুটা মানে তুমি যেটা বললে তোরা শুনতে পাইনি কারণ ওটা ইকো হয়ে মানে সাউন্ডটা ডিস্টার্ব হয়ে গেছে
So this is something that I want to know before we move on to spiritual side. So the thing that the musicians you worked with, Persian music for an example, Sufi music for an example, and other musicians, and how do you find in comparing with the traditional classical music we have?
No, Indian, classical music, Indian classical music, we know it very well that Nad Brahm, the sound, Nad Brahm, right? And this music is not the ragas, but the Indian music, the essence of music, and the basic sound of music was invented by God. As you know, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, his most weakness is only on music. He loves music so much.
He plays flute.
He plays flute. And all of our gods, they have some musical instrument in their hand. So we believe that music is invented by them, though it was a different shape, but the sound, ra 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 dee, ra 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 ra. These are the sound dha, pradhin dha, dignag dha, titikata gadigene dha. These are all mridangams bani. These are all invented by God, right?
Yeah.
So the thing is, if you know that our music is coming from temple, coming from God, coming from the essence of country, so automatically the little bit of devotion, it comes in you, right? Now, if you can develop the devotion, and if you can look as a finder that what music is giving you, where it is coming from your inside, then slowly you come to know that you are nothing. You don't know what is coming, how it is coming. You are nothing. Like, I very practical example I give you one, that I practiced very hard, but now I really, when I'm at this stage, I used to practice for 6-8 hours constantly. Okay. But now practicing for 4 hours or 2 hours is very hard for me. Right? So now I always think that how did I do that? That means somebody made me to do. I was nothing actually.
Wow. Exactly.
And there my beliefness is coming that I am here in this world to play tabla. I used to play cricket. I used to play
Carom. Carom.
water polo, carom board, water polo. I had my friends. I was in the school. I did everything. Every child, every boy, they do in their life in the beginning. I did. But slowly, I came into this world and sit for practice. I didn't go out, not from my door, 3 years constantly, not a single day. How was it possible? That means something is there. Some, some power, maybe music sound power, maybe the sound made me. Maybe the effect of music made me. I don't know who, how, but I sat with my tabla hours and hours, and I made it. I practiced. So this is what the spirituality comes in you, in me, and therefore, slowly nowadays, now it is very much clear that guru is the main thing. I mean,
Exactly.
as you know, Bande Guru Padapunj, Narahari Roop. Bhagavan Sri Krishna has said in Gita that for general people like you and me, it is not easy to see God or to have the essence of God or to, but he said that if you admire your Guru's faith, there you can get me.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Because I live in there. That is my faith. Don't ever think that Guru's faith is the feet of that person. No, the faith is belongs to me. वो चरण मेरा है, मैं वहां विराजमान हूं, उसका सेवा करो, उस पर बिलीव करो. So this is what spirituality is. So
Yeah.
I believe in very much in that, and I don't know still now that whenever I take name of Bhagavan Sri Krishna, whenever I take my Guru's name, it gives me a vibration on the stage. It gives me a different joy, and I know that I am not playing; all they are playing.
Wow, wow. So if I'd like to summarize, Kumarda, please correct me if I'm wrong. So what you said is, first of all, Nad itself is God. Nad is Brahma. I mean, the sound itself is God, and that is something we talked before, which is that's why perhaps you are. Whenever you play something, and especially in relation to Indian classical music, you try to make it finer and finer and finer and finer, just to touch the beauty of the silence of God, perhaps, because you are serving God by, and especially our music, our classical music is more finer, means how you are creating silence through this, and silence, God exists in silence.
Yeah.
God exists in silence. Perhaps that's why you are trying to make it finer, and the more fine sound you can create, and we classify them as great musicians. And so what, that is one thing. And the other thing, perhaps, that is the part of Indian philosophy, that God, we human being is not capable of staying in front of God. So God made an example godlike something, and that is Guru. So if you'd
Mhm.
like to go in the vicinity of God, then you have to go through Guru. And then that's why
Absolutely.
perhaps the Gurus, the idea of Gurus is not like Western music or Western teaching, because Guru gives you a path. Guru gives you
Yeah.
a light of whole life, not just music. He gives us solace, he gives spirituality, he injects spirituality, or she injects spirituality in you so that you
Absolutely.
can serve God.
Yeah.
That's why perhaps you said that artistry is not a matter to you, because you don't like to be a good artist. You like to
Mhm.
serve God, and that's why Bhagavan Krishna prepares you in a way so that you create that sound so beautifully that you are serving God's vision by playing that sound, by playing tabla, or by playing whatever instrument. Am I correct, Kumarda? And then also,
Absolutely.
oh,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Actually, you see, till the end of your life, you
Mhm.
need Guru. Because at the same time, there are many examples can be,
Mhm.
in vain. Uh, if you just think that Hari Anand, there is no end of Hari. Okay?
Exactly.
Hari Anand.
Aha, aha.
So that's why Hari's music is also Anand. Day by day, I always feel, and every artist feel, that yesterday whatever I have played, today must be better than that. Tomorrow, more better.
Kya baat?
The tabla
Hmm.
I played already.
Hmm.
You people are very much convinced. You always say that that is fantastic. But I'm still practicing. Why? Because I want to produce more beautiful something.
Aha, kya baat?
So that means, and it is getting day by day, hours by hour, is getting better. If you just think about 5 years back, my tabla and today's tabla, there's much difference. So that means Hari's music is also Anand,
Aha,
endless.
exactly.
Okay. Like you said, Western music, you see, Western music also teachers are like Guru. But the thing is, Western music has when you learn Western music, they have course system, they
Oh,
have diploma system. So after a while, a university or a academy or a person says that, oh, you have completed all the diploma, so you are a musician. But we don't have diploma.
you have lifelong education, lifelong under Guru.
We have to learn lifelong because Hari Anand, our music is Anand.
Anand, and Anand is endless. Pleasure,
Absolutely
divine pleasure is
endless.
endless. Endless.
So
Wow.
therefore, we have to always, till the end of our life, we have to hold the hand of our Guru, and Guru will show you the way, how to move, what to do, good and bad, everything. So therefore, this is this is the difference. That's all.
Yeah.
That we don't have diploma, we don't have certificate system, we don't have nothing else. It goes on and on and on and on. Malkos, Rag Malkos, just imagine how many thousand times has already been sang, played by great musicians.
True.
But till Malkos is Malkos, and when Malkos somebody sings, you are convinced, you get joy, you listen to it.
Very good explanation. Exactly. Exactly. Every time you listen, every time you get different sort of pleasure, different dimension of pleasure, and that is perhaps a unique side of Indian classical music. But another thing, Kumar, Western philosophers especially are a great admirer of Indian devotional spiritual philosophy, in a sense that, and I am personally a firm, I'm firmly fascinated actually by the idea that we were the part of God, Lord Krishna. All were the part of Krishna, and then all of a sudden we have been separated. We became creation, which is Radha, and then we are now now we are desperately trying to be the part of Krishna, the reunion, Obishar, with Krishna. And that is something we are part of, rather than we just worship, just to be united with the part of Lord, which is Krishna. And that sense of worship actually develops some great music, and that is Indian classical music. Through Indian classical music, actually worship, to be the part of God, to be the part of Krishna,
Absolutely.
as a Radha. And is it similar to you? Because whenever you
Yeah,
play,
yeah. Because you see, music,
yeah,
our music started. Our music started from the temple. Music was only
mm,
served in the temple. Slowly, then the research come to rag, ragini, these and that.
true, true.
But in the beginning, we started actually only God's name in the temple.
Aha, aha, aha. That's
Okay.
why perhaps, yeah, yeah. Please
Yeah.
carry on.
There's a very beautiful story I tell you.
Yeah, please do.
Lakshmi and Saraswati, both of them are sisters.
True.
So Lakshmi ji was more beloved to Narayan, Bhagavan. But Saraswati, Devi Saraswati also used to like Narayan ji very much. So she wanted to marry Narayan ji. So she did lot of charisma, lot of uh, sort of trying things, to convince Narayan ji. So Narayan ji understood everything. And then one day, he was very upset. And he said to Saraswati ji that, look, your sister Lakshmi ji is very close to me and I like her. But even though you are trying to just, ditch him and you come to me, which is very bad. You should get some punishment.
Yeah,
I'm very upset. So Devi Saraswati says, okay, Prabhu, you are Narayan, so who can avoid your punishment? Give me. So then Narayan said that you will take a root of bamboo. So you'll be just in the bamboo. There will be no worship about you. Nobody will admire you, and you will be in the bamboo itself.
bamboo itself.
So Devi Saraswati says, okay, Prabhu. But there should be some mukti, there should be some outcome, maybe 100 years, maybe 200 years, but how can I
Get rid of this punishment
get rid of
after.
this punishment?
Yeah,
After said, okay, when Bhagavan Sri Krishna will make a bansuri, a flute out of that bamboo, and then the bamboo, that flute, when it touch in his live. That is where your mukti is done.
Your salvation. How beautiful story. What a beautiful story.
Mm.
Great.
So this is what Ma Saraswati Ji's roop in tune.
True.
So Basri is as a Ma Saraswati in Krishna's lake.
Exactly. Bashari, those who are flute is made of bamboo, and Saraswati, that is, Saraswati is in Krishna's, Lord Krishna's.
So ये सब जानने के बाद जो है, when you know all these things, these are our gurus has said all, my father, my parents, my mother. So then automatically your music goes
will
to
be. Your music will reflect that immense devotion. That is why. Exactly. And that's why perhaps whoever you worked with, Kumar, from world music, they loved your company because your music is so unique. You have got something different to contribute in the world music, because other from world music side, they don't have that spiritual background, and especially when they play perhaps a flute, this is simply a flute to them. Yeah. But when we play the flute, Lord Krishna, we try to go in the vicinity of Lord Krishna, and that perhaps not just for the fame, not just for being a good musician, because lots of prayers in it, and that's perhaps make our music so different than others.
Then also my parents were very sort of devotee.
Yeah.
To music and to God and to Guru, whatever you say. Then after I married, my wife is also very devotee.
You are also quite devoted to spiritual side, Kumar. I can
absolutely.
Krishna's, Lord Krishna's.
There is Gopal in our house. Gopal and Lord Krishna is our house.
Wow.
And we always do nothing without involving them in our life. Even we take a bite of biscuit, we give it to them, then we take.
Fantastic, great.
So this is what in my house infrastructure. That's how. And my daughter had taken sannyas. She lives in Vrindavan. She's a saint now.
Yeah.
My daughter. Yeah.
Your daughter. Oh, great.
Sannyasini.
Wow. Is it?
She lives in Banaras ashram. She had her own ashram in Vrindavan.
Ashram. Wow. Fantastic is this. So another thing, I mean, we'd like to have your memory side of your parents perhaps, but before I move on to this, Kumar, one thing that always inspires me to ask somebody like you, what's your thinking about death, and what's your thinking about the life after the death? Because we are talking about philosophy that connects music, but let us purely focus on the philosophy, because you are the philosopher of music as well, not just a musician. So what do you think? Say, for instance, when you are alone and you think about music, you think about devotion to Lord Krishna, and then sometimes do you think about death as well? Because some of the musicians that you worked with, especially in COVID, they died, and most of the musicians you worked with, they are no more now. So what's your thinking on death, and what do you think about the death, life after the death? Your own thinking.
Death is the only truth in your life, That's the only truth. And everybody has to go.
True.
And that is the most beautiful thing in the world also.
Death itself. Wow. Almost like Tagore said, "Modam re tuhu mamo shemo shama." So you are saying it is beautiful as well. It is beautiful. Death is beautiful.
Beautiful.
Wow.
And why? Because you see, when you are not there, you can see the world from off off of the world, what is happening, right? When your body is not there, your soul is absolutely pure.
Wow. True.
You don't have any demand, you don't have any expectation. So your soul is so pure that there is a level of purity where the gods are belongs. So only then you can be there.
Wow. Wow.
No more disturbance, no
Uh,
more maya, no more maya, no more kaya,
no more tension.
no, absolutely. So therefore, the that is the most beautiful thing and the most only truth in the world. That everybody has to die one day.
Wow.
There's no other.
Beautiful.
Many other things in the life, it may happen to you, may not happen to you.
But death will. Death will come. Great.
Death will definitely come.
Yeah. Yeah. And then again, you mentioned about love. You mentioned about because obviously through this music we preach love as well. When they listen to, say for instance, when you just do a taka on your tabla, people immediately get connected to this. Kumar, I watched your performance. I immediately connect, and that is perhaps you are trying you disseminate enormous amount of love through this.
No, I tell you one thing
Yeah,
that when from from your inside
yeah,
you have this philosophy what we are uh,
talking
talking
about.
about,
Yeah,
and your believeness of God and the purity of the music, the purity of sound, and the purity of love, everything inside of you, then you are a different person.
true, true.
And that will definitely reflect in your music, in your talking, and even in your lifestyle,
Ah, 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 ah,
right?
ah.
So, until unless you have that depth inside, you only look for car, nice flat, nice computer, nice watch, nice everything.
Name and
I
fame.
also, yeah, I also looked at it, but if I don't have, I don't care.
Great. How beautiful is that? Yeah.
Because practically I'm a human being, right? I
True.
have to live. So
Exactly.
I need a watch to see the time.
Exactly.
Okay, by luck, you have given me a very expensive, very nice one. Okay, but if you didn't,
You
I
know,
could have brought a very cheap one. Okay, I don't care. So that's what comes when you are pure from inside, and when you know that what is pure and what is not.
true. True.
So now mostly people are running after money and fame,
True.
but they miss their own sort of sampod, wealth in their house they are living. I have seen, 10 Commandments. Have you seen the movie?
Which one?
10 Commandments,
No.
the old movie,
Right.
where there's a to very nice dialogue that some people, they were just discussing because all the kings, they wanted to uh, hold of Jesus Christ, and they wanted to kill and this and that and then money and yes. So one person, he was telling to a soldier that please tell to your king that the things you don't have, don't run after so much that the things you have in house, that is gone. যেটা তোমার বাড়িতে আছে সেইটার দিকে নজর দাও, তোমার কাছে যেটা আছে। যেটা নেই তার পেছনে এত দৌড়লে যে এটাও চুরি হয়ে গেল। So inside whatever you have, think about that and try to know it, what you have, because you don't know what you have inside, what God has given you, what so-called talent has given you. You don't even know. You never looked up.
True.
You always think something else. You always try to see something else which is outside.
True.
But your inside, you never looked at your inside. When you see your inside, then the outside becomes very zero.
Exactly. Exactly. How? So one thing, Kumar, that you are talking about purity. You are talking about divinity as well. But when it comes to the word love, how do you define this? Because you are preaching love, obviously, you are ambassador of divine love, but even man-to-man love. When the word comes love, when the word love comes to you, how do you define? What is your own take on love?
Man-to-man love is always depend on sacrifice. If I cannot sacrifice for you, I cannot love you.
True.
So I have to sacrifice. I have to accept whatever your good and bad. Then only I can love you. You the same. So the love, romance, whatever you say, you have to always think that how much I can give, how much I'm ready to give you. Even if you love to your God, don't every time you front of your God, you demand something that please God give me money, please God give me car, please God give me this and that. Just say, hello, how are you? Please take my pranam.
Wow.
So that means তোমার শ্রদ্ধাটা তুমি দিতে পারো। All your devotion you are giving. So love to me is just sacrifice and acceptance of every good bad of your friend or the person you are with.
Exactly. So love is another word, a terminology of giving, whatever you can give. So it is same for even man and God relationship. You can't ask for money always. You have to say, devote yourself, sacrifice yourself for God, and even for your friend as well. If you whatever relationship you are in, it is another way giving yourself.
It's a relationship, husband and wife.
Yeah.
When husband thinks about his wife, and the wife thinks about his husband, then that family and their relationship is very long last and very nice. As soon the demand started, that I want this, and your wife says, I want this, then the crash is there. There's no more love.
True. Another thing, Kumarda, This is, well, I'm enjoying so much your own takes, unique take on different things, different, very practical things. Another
We
practical
will
thing.
we will discuss much next year. I hope I can. I mean, I
Would
will
like to
come.
see you, Kumanda. Would like to invite you as part of show this event. And you kept you gave me a commitment that you will come to Leeds, and especially I have a river and as part of our
Yeah,
Radharamon Folk Festival.
sure.
We will
Don't worry.
spend a lot of time by the river work. That is something you
I
said
I
before.
I would you told me for a tabla solo,
Exactly.
but
That's what I did. Yeah.
in your festival, not tabla solo. I would like to very much work out with folk, tabla folk, sort of jam or fusion something like that.
Beautiful.
So
Yeah.
next year, maybe by the grace of God, if everything goes all right, maybe next
Yeah.
year I will come.
Wonderful, wonderful, Kumar. Another thing that I always found to ask you, just briefly, musicians, especially in artistry, are I mean cultural scene or cultural activists or sort of any artist performers, they develop some sort of jealousy between two musicians. You'll see jealousy is so rife in musical field, especially. If you try to devote yourself, if you try to give spread love, jealousy shouldn't be there, but perhaps we are human beings, we should have jealousy. How a musician or performer can work on themselves to reduce or to repress that jealousy so that it is not harming others. Especially commercial
So,
world, you see
so,
jealousy is always there.
so stop calling them musician because they are not musician. They are businessmen.
True,
They are businessmen. They do business through music. That's all.
true.
Because when there is only demand,
Yeah,
when there is only selfishness,
yeah,
there cannot be good music.
yeah,
Okay. And even though one should think that what I can sing, what I can play, what I can do, nobody else can do. Everybody's vibration is different.
yeah.
Everybody's vibration is absolutely different. Because unnecessarily, somebody is insecure by somebody's quality. No, shouldn't be. Because your quality is only you have, and the other person's quality only he has.
True.
So if your quality is better and good, people will call you first. If you are not available, maybe the second person.
Yeah.
Why should you jealous?
Why should we exactly? But one thing, Kumar, I mean, that is something also. I mean, you'll see. Arjun was asking in Gita to Krishna that what is bad we know, greed is bad we know, but how can we stay away from greed? How can you stay away from jealousy? Jealousy is perhaps a human instinct. A human being might have some sort of jealousy. But as a musician, because you excelled in many forms, not as a musician, but also as a human being. So, how did you? I'm sure you felt jealousy perhaps, but how did you repress jealousy? How did you get rid of jealousy? Perhaps that will be a lesson for others, other musicians, other performers.
The moment jealousy comes in your mind,
Yeah,
the moment greediness comes to your mind,
yeah,
just remember your guru. Just remember your music.
yeah.
Just remember a beautiful song,
Wow.
a beautiful rhythm. That
Yeah,
is the best thing you have,
yeah,
especially for musician. Especially for musician, that all musicians should know
yeah,
that there are billions and billions of people are in the world living,
Yeah,
but there are only few million, maybe 1 million people can sing or play. They are musician and they do understand music.
yeah,
So you are already blessed by God that you are the person who knows, who understands, who can feel something which is music when many people cannot sing.
exactly.
Okay? So
Yeah,
take, and that is a beautiful things God has given you inside of you. What? Music, poetry, the
yeah,
fine arts.
exactly.
So take a help of that. Whenever your jealousness comes, whenever you are angry, whenever your greediness is come, just take your guru's name. Just think of a good song. Just think of your music. Everything will be perfect.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Commander,
That,
let us.
that, that is why we always say na, that music can make your life beautiful.
True, true, absolutely true. আরেকটা জিনিস এটা কুমারদা এটা আমি বাংলাতে বলছি প্রত্যেক আমাদের তো নানা রকমের দায়িত্ব আছে মানুষ হিসাবে আরেকটা হলো সন্তান হিসাবেও you made your parents so proud আমরা আমরা বলি বাংলাতে বলি যে সকল কাঁটা ধন্য করে ফুটবো মোরা ফুটবো আপনার বাবা মা পণ্ডিত বিশ্বনাথ
বিশ্বনাথ বোস
বিশ্বনাথ বসু এবং
বিদুষী ভারতী বোস।
ভারতী বসু তাদের জন্য আপনি একটা কাজ করেছেন by devoting yourself for God or for music and making yourself as part of Indian classic as a history in the history of Indian classical music you enlightened us you made them the part of the history as well এবং আমাদের মানে my pranam to your parents and number of people are now আমরা বলি না যে সুপুত্র রাখতে পারা এবং এই রকমের পুত্র আপনি ক্লাসিক্যাল মিউজিকে হিস্ট্রিতে আপনি আপনার বাবা মার মুখ উজ্জ্বল করেছেন এবং এটা সত্যিকার অর্থে আমরা তো আমাদের একটা বাচ্চা হিসাবে বোধহয় সকল বাচ্চাদের একটা দায়িত্ব হলো যে বাবা মার মুখটা কিভাবে মানুষ দেখে বলে যে একজন ভালো মানুষের পুত্র
আমার বাবা মা যে কি ছিলেন
that is something that we want to know
আমার বাবা মা যে কি ছিলেন ভাবতে পারবে না যে তারা এত ভালো গার্জিয়ান ছিলেন তারা এত ভালো হিউম্যান বিং ছিলেন they were so nice human being they were such a good guardian they were such a good friend
wow
one cannot imagine my father we are so lucky to have parents in our life and we always pray to God that we want the same kind of every time we come to this world we want our parents back same parents.
Wow.
My mother not only a musician my mother used to always think about what food can be given my mother always her biggest sacrifice is my mother was president awardee sitar player.
Yeah.
My mother was more famous than my dad before my dad became famous. My mother used to play very big concerts and everything with big people, and she was very busy and she used to earn a lot of money.
Wow.
But when my father became famous, then my mother said, look, both of us, if we go out today, Delhi, tomorrow, Bombay, you go someplace, I go someplace, all the children are neglected and they will be in a very bad shape. So one should sacrifice. So my mother said, I am the woman, I am the mother. I will sacrifice.
Wow.
My mom left sitar playing, giving program here and there, only because of us, only because of son.
Unbelievable.
And there are, it will take days and days to talk about my mom and dad. The last day I tell you, my mother used to always tell to my wife, always tell to everybody that look, my mother was very sick at the end, very sick. But my mother used to always say that look, if Kumar is playing a concert, if Kumar is going to play a concert, never tell him that I am sick, I am ill.
Unbelievable.
Never tell him. Never tell him.
Yeah.
So the finally it comes to a matter that I was playing a concert in Durgapur, and my mother was literally, she was dying, right?
Yeah.
But my mother said to my wife and my daughter that don't phone, don't give any news to Kumar until unless his program performance is over, that I am going to die. Because doctor said that within 3 hours she will expire. So even the last day, they didn't. Because আমার প্রোগ্রাম ছিল দুর্গাপুরে, আমি তখন স্টেজে বাজাচ্ছি। আমার বাজনা হয়ে যাওয়ার পর, when my concert is finished, I came to hotel and I was to stay that night there in Durgapur, and next morning I will come. But there, one of my students said that Guruji, I think you better get back today because Vidu, your mother is not feeling very well.
Oh.
So I came back. So this was my mother. This was my mother that Riyaz, whenever I did Riyaz, my father used to say, even if you don't have anything to cook, don't cook, but don't disturb him. When he finishes Riyaz, then send him to any dukan, any shop to bring something in a market. But not in between the Riyaz. So these are many incidents, And then every night, every night, my father used to come back at 11, 12 o'clock and till 1, 1:30, only about life, only about good and bad, what I did whole day, scanning all that, that this was not good, you did, this was not bad, you did, things like that. Every day, each and every day. And my father knew every moment, every minute, where am I going, what I am doing, what I am eating. Tremendous guardianship, tremendous, and tremendous love.
Unbelievable. So
Unbelievable.
so they shaped. I mean, Kumanda, what you are now is because of your that sacrifice.
Absolutely, more than 100%. More than 100%.
Unbelievable sacrifices and love.
Yeah. It's আমার মা বাবাই আমায় তৈরি করেছেন। I have done nothing.
So thank you very much, Kumanda. Would you like to?
You're most welcome.
This is something briefly. If we'd like to talk anything on Rajanji. Rajanji was a great friend of you, I know. And I mean, any memoir, anything that, I mean, whenever, because obviously you performed with them and then all of a sudden they're gone. And how do you feel now? And when it comes to Rajan, yeah.
Very bad. Rajan is a different story to me.
Yeah.
We were not friends actually, we were family.
Yeah.
Because it's another long story,
Yeah.
when day by day, when I coming to London, you know,
Yeah.
I will definitely tell you, because when telling like this,
Yeah, it's
it
not
won't be I mean fully said, you know.
true. 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 That's understood.
There many things, because it you need a lot of time,
True. True.
you
True.
know.
True.
So I will definitely say, but now I can only say that Rajan was such a divine or very nice musician, very divine from his heart, and he was in love with me, and I was in love with him, because not only because we were friendly or we were, you know, like a relationship now. We always used to admire our work. I used to admire his work, and he used to admire my work. That was the basic point. We used to like each other, you know. And but we were more and more like a friend. We were more like a uh, family. We were more like a uh, brother. Everything, you know. So it's a great loss. Great loss. I have many things to say about it.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Kumada. Thank you, Kumada. Look forward to, if everything is over, especially the COVID is over, would like to look forward to meeting you here in London.
Absolutely.
Please stay safe, Kumada. You are now, I mean, not just a treasure of Indian classical music, treasure of world music, contemporary world music.
Thank
So
you very much, by the grace of God.
please look after yourself and
Please,
look forward to meeting you.
you too. You people